Hi, everyone. My name is Douglas Kenny, and I have a presentation for you all today. It's called Someone May Have a Disability, written and produced by Douglas Nelson Kenny. Special needs people matter. When you go through life's journey, we encounter people who are different from us. Have you ever seen someone make loud noises or someone who is in a wheelchair? Have you seen anyone who likes a different movie than you do? Your thoughts might be that they're weird, but sometimes differences can be good. Even if people think and mature differently than most of their classmates, they all have something valuable to offer the world. They don't have to be defined by their challenges. About myself. My name is Douglas Nelson Kenny. I am originally from Estes Park, Colorado in the United States of America. I am now based in Phoenix, Arizona. I am on the autism spectrum, Asperger's to be exact, and I also have bipolar 2. I am the co-founder of the very popular YouTube podcast and talk show Relentless and Unstoppable, starring myself and Andy McPhee. Andy McPhee, my longtime mentor, is an actor from Australia. I went to grade school in Estes Park and high school in Florence, Arizona. I am a well-selling author of a children's book called Throw All the Junk Food Away, which is based on my journey of weight loss. Other things about myself. My education was a very interesting time for me, both in good and bad ways. Between 2001 to 2012, I went to school at Estes Park School District, going through elementary and middle school there. Schooling in Estes was an enormous struggle since I have a learning disability. I went to Florence High School in late 2012, where I briefly turned things around in my education. Then, after a tumultuous junior and senior year at Florence High School, I graduated on May 26, 2016. During my high school years, I wrote and published my first ever book as an author. My English class with Chandra Bird. During my school years, I struggled with a learning disability, which made it hard for teachers and teachers' assistants to help me understand things. Middle school was a very difficult time for me. I had several classes with different sets of rules, which confused me. I struggled as a victim of bullying, both physical and emotional, and had depression during my education. When I came to Florence High School in July 2012, things started to turn around for me. I had a teacher named Chandra Bird. She was both my English teacher and the boss of my team. We bonded very well together. Chandra had seen glimpses of my struggles and saw how much I loved to write. She decided to take advantage of my abilities to help me in my education. My book project. In September 2012, Chandra spoke to me before class began about doing a year-long project. She suggested to me that she invest heavily into my love for writing so that I could discover things about myself. She told me she had connections to Amazon's publishing company and could help me write and publish a book. I accepted the offer. I worked very hard on it throughout the rest of the school year, which was my freshman year. I wrote an autism book titled From Green Flags to Blue Flags, which would be written in only a few months and then published by summer of 2013. After the project completed, I joined the transition conference hosted in Scottsdale, Arizona, and had fun. I hosted a successful book signing and gave a speech. What school was like for me before I met Mrs. Bird, Part 1. Before I met Mrs. Chandra Bird, school was not very enjoyable for me. As a kid, I dealt with behavioral issues connected to my autism, and my teachers did not know how to deal with me. I was physically injured by a staff member when she dragged me across a rough carpet in a fit of anger. I was punished very harshly when I made poor choices, no matter how small or large my poor choices were. I once ran away from school during a winter blizzard. A search party went after me and I was found near Lake Estes. I was not wearing winter clothes when this happened. I also had days where I either skipped school or tried to skip school. I made poor choices such as throwing a snowball at a teacher. What school was like for me before I met Mrs. Bird, Part 2. I was sometimes made the scapegoat by teachers for things I didn't do or for the sake of not having to discipline students whose parents worked at the school. Things got so bad at Estes Park Middle School that I was homeschooled for half a year during seventh grade. I went to middle school for 2 months at a separate school in Phoenix, but had terrible times with my teachers and sped teacher. I was pulled from the Arizona middle school with 2 weeks left of the school year after falling out with the principal and teachers. I was very worried of how people thought of me, especially since some teachers announced my punishments in front of the class, violating my privacy. Students didn't really interact with me, aside from my friend Damien and another friend, Cassidy. Cassidy helped me gain confidence in sitting with other students at lunchtime by letting me sit with her and her friends. What school was like for me before I met Mrs. Bird, Part 3. I was overcompetitive in PE class, leading me to get in trouble several times when we played exercise games as a class. My overcompetitiveness led to me being expelled from all games of my high school partner PE class. In 2010, I had a great season as a swimmer for the Estes Park swimming team, helping the team win a championship with my 3-round victories. I left the team 2 months into the next season after an unfortunate incident during a school practice meet. I drowned my sorrows into food and sweets. I quickly became heavy and obese as I moved up several grades. At one point, I ate 4 lunches per day, which led to me ballooning to extreme weight for my age. I was very shy and scared being around many people, especially when belly fat began to grow in my chest and belly. I was bullied and lived in fear of a very close relative who was emotionally, verbally, and sometimes physically abusive. I was hospitalized for a serious situation at Denver Children's Hospital in 2010. How this writing project helped me, Part 1. I had a teacher who greatly cared about me compared to other teachers. Chandra Bird did a great job as a teacher by piquing my interest in learning. Writing this book assisted me in believing in myself. I realized that school was not as hard as I thought. It brought me a lot of confidence. I felt like I found someone who could bring out the good in me. I was glad to have a special skill in creativity. I love telling stories about my past, from sad memories to funny memories to good memories. I love the hand drawings I made for telling the story. It also led to me improving in my academics by having a teacher who invested into my education. I was awarded a certificate for Student of the Month 4 times. My writing continued to improve over time. How this writing project helped me, Part 2. The writing opened up a lot of doors to me. I developed a devout social media fan base. I grew smarter and wise beyond my years. Although I continue struggling sometimes, I've made better choices over the years than I did in my past. It led to a very creative mind that I have, which would benefit me down the road when I co-founded Are You Relentless and Unstoppable with Andy McPhee. It led to me being more compassionate and forgiving of others' misdeeds. It led to me finding my nice side of me. My best book ever. After writing 7 more books after that, I wrote and published a children's book on health and fitness called Throw All the Junk Food Away. The book came out in November of 2021. The book is based on my journey of weight loss and improved health. The book is told in the style of Dr. Seuss and hand-drawn by myself. It was a privilege working on the book and taking my time doing it. I learned from this experience that books are really good when they take time to write. How things are today. Ever since Miss Chandra Bird brought my confidence up in education, things continued to be better. After graduating, I began making connections in the NASCAR community. As a motorsports fanatic, I went to races in Phoenix. I met several NASCAR drivers and started my own racing podcast. I went traveling to national parks where I had a fun time in nature. I became known in the NASCAR community as a likable person. I am more accepting of others' views and beliefs. As the RNU platform grew, I began meeting even more famous people. For example, I had a coincidental meeting with Roger Penske, the man behind the Penske Trucking Company. I am feeling personally happy with how my journey has gone so far. So in conclusion, Special needs people have so much to offer the world. I am only one of millions of special needs people who have found success in their life. We need to embrace diversity and differences and give SPED students the opportunities they need to achieve their goals. Sometimes SPED people don't need a spanking. Sometimes what they need is help in achieving their goals. They also need staunch support in order to have any chance of succeeding. Thank you very much. Please follow the RNU channel on YouTube at RU Relentless and Unstoppable, and please find me on Facebook as Doug Kenny. Thank you very much.